because we have something from Tamdhu 19-year-old old malt cask, one of 187 bottles they got out of a refill hogshead. Distilled April 1999, probably to the Prince song playing in the background because they were partying like it was. Bottled June 2018, 50.3% in McLeod Distillers. Hunter Lang bottling.
Tamdhu. I don't think I've had Tamdhu before.
And it's pronounced Tamdhu. Tamdhu.
Tamdhu? Maybe Tom don't.
Tom don't.
Tom definitely do.
Tom definitely.
When it comes to scotch.
I'm sure, like, far off, there's probably a sibling rivalry where Tom don't is a different. I'm thinking like Man in the Iron Mask vibes. Like Tom don't is somewhere.
And they're like twins or something? There's like an anti-Tom?
With the mask, with the who actually is the one that created this. And Tom just stole it.
Just take it.
Oh, it's a sad story. It's a tragic story.
I realized it once I said, I was like, that's actually a very tragic tale.
That's an origin story of many supervillains.
Definitely getting that organic smell with this as well. But there's more subtlety to it. I feel like there's more, there's some more interesting stuff going on in here. Yeah. What is that?
The smell to me initially isn't as intense as the last one. Like I definitely am like, am I smelling it? I smell it.
Yeah.
I get
it's more
apple
finesse.
rind and
okay. Yeah, I definitely like apples or pears. I could definitely get some of that. Definitely fruity. Yeah. Now, Eric, have you been to the Wild Animal Park in San Diego?
No, I haven't. I've just been to the San Diego Zoo.
The Wild Animal Park is awesome. Like it's one of my. I really love it.
Next level. I'm a zoo guy. I enjoy zoos. I'm not gonna lie.
It's like Zoo to 1,000. Like you, they have like a tour you can ride around, and they'll show you all the animals that they, and like I got quite misty because they'll go like this, these animals here, we're down to 100 now. There's 1,000 because we've been able to like bring them back from extinction, and then the others will be like, this is the only animal that exists of its type, So it's. But just the fact that they're saving species of animals there, is really amazing. So, like, I will give them as much money as I possibly can. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, please.
So that's gonna be first. I don't know. Do we do bucket list now because we're in a pandemic? But that'll be the first one now. It's like, where are you headed? Like, I'm gonna hit the Wild Animal Park in San Diego.
Yeah.
Gotta do it. Gotta checking on the animals.
And they have these things called animal encounters where they will bring an animal out that has been like domesticated, or they domesticate it with a dog. But like I was like as close as it's hard to, as close as I am to that skull times 2. Like that's how close I was to a cheetah.
Wow.
Like with no cage, nothing, just like sitting. I don't know if they still do it because it seems like something they might not.
Yeah, because that cheetah could probably cross that distance like that. Beyond
it can, yeah, but they run it, they tire it out, they feed it, and what they have to do is they raise it with a puppy. And since dogs are domesticated, the cheetah learns that like, oh, my dog friend is calm, and I'm around people, and he's calm, so I'll also be calm.
Huh.
But if the dog passes, when the dog dies, they can't do it anymore. They can't like train another dog. It has to happen from when I just think it's fascinating. That it's like that's the cheetah is like hey buddy, is this cool that all these people are around? And the dog's like, yeah, it's cool, people are great. And the cheetah's like, okay.
But it has to check every single time. So yeah, if the dog's gone, it's like
it's calm because its brother is calm, basically. Like I don't think it's cool.
It's kind of scary. I would be really scared of that. I wouldn't say scared. Scared is a hard way of putting it. I would be anxious to do that, but I think it's. I don't know if you recently this like past holiday season, I went to Hawaii and actually did a shark encounter.
Nope.
So
no, thank you.
Where you put you in the cage out in the ocean, and then the sharks swim around the cage and stuff like that. So I recently did one of those, and now it's a one-time thing. I will say that, like, it's a one-time thing. But that was one of those where it's like leading up to it, like you're like really have to hype yourself up for it. But once it's happening and once you're just kind of in there, it's like there's nothing you can do if the animal wants to do its own thing. So it's like you really just start to appreciate like how close you are and just like.
So do they chum the water so the sharks come? Do they throw dead fish in? Or?
No, what? Do they do that?
I don't know. I don't think
they wouldn't do that. Why would they do that?
To make the sharks come.
Are like attracted to the motor of the boat.
Huh.
It's more like just a sitting like motor, and it's like they're kind of just attracted to like the rudder and the vibrations in the water. And then if they did, it was never any like intense like chum to make them go wild and be aggressive. It was more so like the best way I can describe it is like dropping something in a fish tank and the fish react to it. It's like it's not that they're aggressive. They're just like swimming around because something changed in their environment. So that's kind of like the vibe of
a big chunk of food just jumped in that cage.
Oh, come on. They don't want to eat you. They want to eat baby seals. Like, that's what they want to eat. Like,
you're wearing a wetsuit, I'm guessing.
No, the sharks, because the
like
sharks bite you. That's why sharks don't eat people generally. They eat part of a person because they bite a person and they're like, what the hell is this? This isn't a seal. And then they don't eat the rest of you. Like, human beings are just, we just look like seals to them. And they're disappointed.
They're disappointed.
But we're not as fatty as seals are. Like it's like, this is too lean. I don't like it.
I don't want to disappoint a shark. That's just where I am.
You definitely don't. But I would totally do that. I would do the cage thing before I would do like skydiving, for example.
I would definitely. I don't think I mean, skydiving would be fun. It's not something I'm racing to do, but neither was the shark encounter. It was kind of just in the spur of the moment. Like, we're out here. Why not? Let's do it. So.
Get in the water.
I'm a seal attack survivor. I have been attacked by a seal before.
Seals can be...
Okay, wait. What?
They can be rough.
Well, I want to know that story now. What's
this
that?
Is putting 100 on 10. My friends say the seal jumped out of the water. I say I was attacked. So while I was in college at Zuma Beach. And as we're like just in the ocean, like at the beach, all of a sudden you hear people like yelling, it's kind of like a mix between like joking and people not knowing what's going on. My head's underwater and I'm coming up here and people like panic, whatever. And they're like, shark, that's initial reaction. And my friend, who's kind of like in the same radius of like Joseph and the skull, like we're maybe a little further than that. Maybe Joseph and his wall to the farther him, but close enough to where he can see him. Like, that's how close me and my friend are. And he's like, no, it's a seal. He's like, that's what he's talking about. And I was like, well, where is it? And he's kind of just like looking at me and looking around. He's like, to be honest with you, it should probably be like a ride, like right around. And like as soon as he like gives the area, like the seal comes and jumps right. Like it was like the water splashed dead in my face. It does this little like seal sound loud. It's so loud. Like you think it's quiet, but when they do it, it's so loud. I was right next to it. It was like, oh, I just did that. Hop back in the water, splash me again. Looked around so I could feel like it's like bottom part, like kind of swat me away, and then it just went on its way. And like I'm talking about, I went out the water, I screamed. I remember going back in, like the water was at my ankles, and I was looking down, making sure that nothing was in the water. Like it tripped me out for like the next 3 to 5 beach experiences.
Oh, I bet.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, because like humans, like as opposed to creatures that live in the water, humans are so like we're so clumsy, and you know what I mean. Unless you're like a world-class scuba diver, it's like I don't know. I just feel like this is not our environment, and like sharks and seals are like, what are you doing, man?
That's the perfect way to describe it. That's when I ultimately knew. I was like, this is not where I should be. Like. I am in literally no control out here in the ocean as to what happens.
Yeah, once you get in the ocean, you become part of the food chain again.
I feel like sharks get a bad rap, and a lot of it is because of the movie Jaws. Like people like are terrified of sharks, and a lot. Part of the reason that some of them are extinct is because of like this fear of them, And we're not in as much danger from them as as you think. Like there's far more dangerous things that we do on a regular basis, like driving.
This episode of Shark Week brought to you by Tamdhu.
So what do we think of the Tamdhu? I think it's quite tart. Like when I taste it, I feel like there's a tartness to it. I almost want to say like cranberries, but
I actually really like this one. Really like
that could be good. I get like a butter coating of the mouth around that tartness.
Yeah,
a lot.
There
of
is
oils.
a coating. Yeah, yeah. Like cherries or maybe cranberries. There's a tartness in there.
It does have like that vineyard feel, like just kind of as I'm like swirling it around, kind of in my mouth. It's got that kind of that vineyard kind of feel to it, where it's like definitely a lot of different maybe fruits kind of mixed up in here. Feel like some grapes. It's got a little grapefruit juice tinge to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, grape, like a tart grape. Like that is another really good, I think, indication. Like if you get a grape that's not quite ripe.
Yeah, especially in the finish, just where that bitterness is, that
Exactly.
unripe grape. Yeah.
Yeah. I do like it though.
Well,
yeah, I definitely like this better than the Strathmill, but I like both of them. But this I like it a bit more.
This is one of the bottles I just opened for today's show, so this is the first time I've had it.
Really
Cool.
And I'm titling this episode "Unvisited Drams" because this is just stuff that we haven't had on the show before, either the distillery or some unopened bottles. Sorry, Eric, what you were saying?
So we're all busting the cherry for the Tamdhu right now. It's an honor. I want to do this with any other gentleman besides you two.
We're glad to have you.
Thank you.
Glad to have you, Eric. Yeah. I don't think what is after this. We have the. I'm jumping ahead, but the Taninic, and I don't think I've had that before. I don't think I've ever had it.
I saw the distillery name and I was like, I have never had that, so that's why I got that one. There's another one that I have not tried yet. We'll get to it just in a moment.
Are we? Should we science this, or what do you think? I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to
science this.
Like it's interesting. Unless something is like blows my socks off, I'm generally down to science it. And I have to say, this isn't. I like it quite a bit. It's not blowing my socks off. Huh. Just kind of diminished, it seems like, but not. It's still there. It's still a nice nose.
Yeah, but the nose has been knocked down again. That's weird because the water should open up a lot more aromas.
Although I do feel like I'm getting more of the sweetness.
I tasted it. It definitely was sweeter, but I agree with you guys on smelling it. It didn't because it already kind of had a quieter smell. That's weird to say, but it wasn't as intense of a smell. So that now it's even more kind of dialed back. So.
I do feel like there's a lot of sound and music analogies we make a lot when we're talking about Scotch. Yeah.
I'm glad. I think it's like maybe I'm just kind of putting on my philosophy hat, but it's almost like one sense just like kind of makes you so open to what the other senses are feeling in that aroma. Similar to like San Diego Zoo feel, like,
right.
Like just by smelling it brought this whole like what are the other senses seeing or hearing just by one sense like being so magnified or focused on.
Right, that association you get from the smell, it can create a nostalgic kind of moment, and you go, "Oh, I'm there. I know."
And smell is so connected to memory too. That's one of the cool things about about Scotch, because it has so many different smells. I'm going to taste this.
Oh, I'm highly in favor of water.
Yeah.
Wow, I don't know, the unripe grape at the end is almost gone.
Oh.
It's got just a wonderful structure.
I'm getting the grape at the end, but there's something more intense and time, like there's something more just precious about it. Like, I don't know, like this just, I feel like the water just like completes it. Like, it's like, this is, I don't know, gives it a nice period. It gives it a, I don't know, it intensifies all the stuff I liked about it. And the stuff that I was not super fond of, like, fades away.
Yeah, that knocked back some of the.
It full on changed the game, but the water definitely makes it. I don't know. It just makes it feel more doable. Like
Tam doable
in bigger quantities. I don't know. Like it's like this makes it like I kind of want a full glass now. Like Like, make me a drink.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. Like the image I have is like without the water, it's kind of like this slope that's like this, but with the water, it's like this nice round, tart, perfect thing that just like boop, you know.
Yeah, really well structured between the sweet and the sour and the alcohol and the oils.
Yeah.
That's a yes on water. That's
I think so, yeah.
2 blue dots.
Do you guys find that maybe more often than not, you get more yeses on the water than usual?
I
think it's maybe a third.
Yeah, I'm often not a fan of it with water.
Because I would say about a third, it makes it better. About a third, it does very little or not enough to warrant it. And the other third is it makes it worse. That's what I would say. If it's in that middle section and you like the alcohol is too strong for you, then water is generally recommended because it'll you know, even if it doesn't like it kind of usually will bump that fire down a bit if it's too much for you. But I think.
I'm gonna just take a sip of water to calm my mouth down after that. That was
calm down your
intense
mouth.
dram.
Andrew, chill out. Make your mouth chill out.
Chill mouth, chill.
Chill mouth. This is the map that I have up today. No one's gonna figure out what this is. This is super obscure.
That's because it's renovation plans for your parents' house?
Nah.
No.
Nah. I always put a map up from a game, Eric, and if anybody guesses it, although I don't think anybody's even trying to guess them because I haven't heard. I don't know.
Yeah,
Have you been
we had
checking that? Do I need
someone
to check
guessed
that?
the first one and then never contacted us with his address to send him something.
Yeah, they don't.
A new game that you're making.
This is a game. This is an old game. Most of them are old games. They might be video games. They might be computer games. They might be board games. They might be role-playing games. But yeah, I put a map up here, and then if they can guess what it is, then I will send them a copy of Postcard Dungeons,
which is Joseph's game.
That is the game that I designed. Yeah.
Man. Oh no, man.
Yeah, you're not gonna know this. You're way too young to even. I think it says.
All right, I'm gonna pull it back to my Sega Genesis.
It says copyright 1982 down there. So.
All right.
There's a little clue for the, you know.
Genesis. I had a Sega Genesis. Is this gonna be before? Am I in the right ballpark of like maybe Sega Genesis era? Is that it?
It's not a. This is not. I mean,
82 would be a board game, I'd guess.
Yeah, it's not a video game.
Not a video game.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is this like?
But I'll tell you afterwards. I don't want to give too many clues in case someone ever does try to guess it. But we could, you know.
Is it like
we hang out after the show and talk? So.
Is it like Monopoly Carnival, to where it's like it was a version they made of Monopoly, but it was just intense and like Carnival, like
based on the HBO series Carnival. Management doesn't want you to buy that hotel. That's like a really obscure reference I just made. If anybody's watched Carnival, you'll get it. But.
Oh man.
Management doesn't agree with that. Yeah. Have you ever watched? Did you watch the series Carnival?
I knew of it. I never saw it.
Yeah, it was super weird and like the supernatural turn of the. I really liked it. I watched the whole thing, but it was like this weird sort of supernatural mystery thriller where there's this carnival traveling through America, like during the Dust Bowl, you know, Great Depression era. And and there's a little person was one of the characters, and they would always talk about management. You never saw management. Management was in this one, like that, a caravan, right? And there was in this one wagon, and like, you know, in the very back, there's like a little hole, and you never saw what was going on in there, but like only like the you know, that character would go and talk to management and then come out and say management doesn't want to do this or management wants to do that. But you never saw until like I think like the end of the series.
And it was revealed that that guy was the management.
Nope.
Oh.
I was about to say, man, that was a big time spoiler, Andrew. Like I was about to like look it up, maybe watch the show today. like that's a big time spoiler.
That was one of the things I was suspecting, but it also would have been kind of a cop out because you see, like you would see from the other side of the curtain, like, you know, the
shadowy
person.
form.
Yeah, you would see like the camera would be like where management was, and they would come and talk to management. So it's like, you know, yeah. I recommend it though. It's pretty dark though. So just FYI, it's a good one.
Perfect for these times.
Also, they never, they didn't really finish it, so it's like just the one series.
Oh.
I'm a big Penny Dreadful fan. So.
Oh yeah, I loved Penny Dreadful. Are you watching the new one?
I am watching the new one. Actually, I'm now caught up on the new one. I missed it, but now I'm caught up to the first 4 episodes or whatever.
Is it good? I haven't watched it, the LA one. I like the era, but
yeah, it's really good. I think it's a lot different than the kind of first kind of Penny Dreadful, because I think the excitement for me watching like that first Penny Dreadful was like I was guessing like who people were. Like I was like, I know he's the Wolfman. I know it. They're gonna. I know for a fact he's the Wolfman.
Yeah, you knew that like there's so many hints. Like early on, you knew he was the Wolfman.
That was the fun for me. So with this one, it's a little different because it doesn't have that like, oh, this is Penny Dreadful about the characters in the Penny Dreadfuls. It's like this is Penny Dreadful and this is the time period that it's set in now. So it hasn't been as much like kind of like breadcrumbs, but it has a whole new kind of vibe to it. A very like I want to say it's like right before World War II, I think is when it takes place. So it's like cool to see Old Town LA, cool to see it's heavy like old Mexican and Chicano references. So it's a lot of based on, it looks like it's going to be based a lot on that lore, like La Llorona and stuff like that.
Oh wow, yeah.
So that's a whole nother scary like lore I wasn't as knowledgeable about, but it's like
yeah, there's a lot of really awesome myths in that culture that are super like scary and like very deeply held, and so that's a great and I love that like I don't know what's
and in
that?
the second episode there's a mutual friend of all of ours that you'll see.
Oh, now I have to watch the series.
I can't tell you who it is because then it's not going to ruin it for you, but it's like the show's already so intense, so then when you see them it's like, oh wow, it makes you happy, but it's like, oh god, I forgot the show's scary. Oh yeah, I think it's the second episode. There's a mutual friend where we all see. So.
I felt that about Westworld as well when I got near the end, and you're on the train and suddenly like, oh.
Yeah, exactly. Well, like that.
Yeah, or Lucifer. I watch Lucifer, and that's another one that I think Nick Massou shows up at some point. So, yeah,
that's awesome.
I can say that, right?
Yeah,
I guess.
I mean, he's publicly on the show. So.
Yeah, it's not something you couldn't find out from IMDb.